Good morning. I'm Anna Marie de la Vega. This is Focus. Thank you for joining us today. We have someone completely new to this program. It's Major Bill Mockabee with the Salvation Army. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you having us.
So we've been followers and supporters of the Salvation Army for years and years and years here at the radio station, and personally I have. But we've not gotten to talk to you before. Could you just introduce yourself? Tell us a little about yourself, please.
Yeah, so my name is Major Bill Mockabee. I am the Salvation Army officer for Middle Tennessee. I oversee our programs and our churches of the Salvation Army. And my wife and I just recently moved here to Nashville. We're appointed here last June. So we're still learning to get around and navigate traffic, but we're loving this area. This community is so good.
That's good. And he didn't say anything about traffic at all. You can tell he's a good optimist. He didn't even roll his eyes when I said that. Well, so there are so many programs that the Salvation Army offers that they oversee. They take care of so many people in many, many ways. So I would like to talk to you about as many of those programs that we can squeeze in this 30 minutes. So when the time rolls around for people to make a donation online, because the biggest fundraisers tend to be around the holidays.
Correct.
For them to put money in a red kettle, whatever, they'll know this is what the Salvation Army is doing all year long.
So there's really three main buckets that the Salvation Army does, and we have programs that go under those buckets.
Okay.
The first is homeless prevention. The best way to prevent homelessness is to keep people in their homes. So we have emergency financial assistance where we're helping people pay rent and utilities, keep food on the table. We're doing everything we can to make sure that they don't enter that experience of homelessness. Mm-hmm. That's where we would like to live. We wish we could just keep people in their homes and not even get to that experience of homelessness.
Well, I think that's something that a lot of people might not realize because they get to the end of their rope. They've lost a job or somebody has gotten sick or a job was eliminated or something like that, and they don't know where to turn. Do they reach out first to the Salvation Army? Do they reach out to a United Way number? How do they get to you? Do they look you up specifically?
Yeah, so there's our website. I mean, our traffic on our website has increased tremendously even over the last year. We've seen an 83% increase in people asking for those kind of services through our website. That doesn't include, we don't have a way of tracking the amount of calls that are coming into our front desk. So we're seeing that need, but they could go to our website, salvationarmynashville.org. United Way has a 211 number that they could call to be able to find out where resources are. There's lots of different ways. That United Way 211 number is probably the best way to go as they're starting that search of where do I turn now.
Because it's a phone call.
It's a phone call.
It's easy to remember. If somebody is having trouble keeping the lights on, they may or may not have a computer or online access. 211.
211.
A good starting place. And then they ask about support with rent and utilities and things like that.
Yeah, and those individuals on the 211, they know they have a list of all the different agencies that are helping, and they can make referrals through that.
Since you're seeing like an 80-something% increase in traffic on the website, people looking for help, what are they needing help with? What's going on as far as you can see? Because you guys are the boots on the ground people.
Yeah. I think it's very multifaceted, and there's not an easy, here's the one point. But what we're seeing a lot is the price of living, the cost of groceries, the cost of gas, the cost of energy. All of those things continue to go up when a lot of people are on fixed incomes, or their income is just not at a level that makes it possible to be able to make ends meet all year round.
Yeah.
Right now, if you're a single individual with two kids, a livable wage, according to Metro, is $93,000 a year. And if you can imagine how many people can make that level, that kind of income level as a single parent, it becomes unattainable for so many people in our community.
So that's $93,000, meaning what you would need for your housing, your utilities, your groceries, food for the parent and the kids or whatever. That's what it would take.
Childcare, yes, all of those different things that are needed for an individual to work and to have the support system around them.
$93,000. That's beyond comprehension for a lot of people listening right now.
Yeah,
They're like,
absolutely.
No, never have, never will, possibly.
Yeah.
So that's where the Salvation Army steps in to try and keep people in their homes. Are there other programs that you're working on to try and help that, or to help them get where they can make a better living and stay in their homes? Or
So with our emergency financial assistance programs, one of the other things that we're building into those are life skill classes. This is another one of those buckets of how do we help eliminate especially generational poverty. So when they come in for help, we're offering more than just a handout. We're saying, come back so that we can help you create a budget. How do you start to shop and shop effectively and eat healthy on SNAP benefits? What can you do? So we're building in those kind of extra programs that start to help people budget what they have and be able to stretch what they have to make ends meet, so that they're not having to constantly come back to nonprofits or other places to be able to get the assistance that they need just to make ends meet.
yeah, just to survive. And for those who don't know, SNAP benefits are for supplemental nutrition money, basically. It's if you don't have enough money to keep food on the table, then that helps you by giving you a certain amount of money per month.
And they can shop. Those individuals or those families, those households can go shop, get what they need to be able to feed themselves and their families.
Yes. And I know probably Second Harvest Food Bank is probably a well-known entity to help people when they're in need. But you're trying to keep them from needing that forever by, what did you say, life skills?
Life skill
like
classes. So some of those life skill classes are financial literacy, and that's a 6-week course. It covers a whole lot there. We're also working, partnering with other agencies, workforce development. How do we help individuals get the skills that they need to be able to increase their income? And sometimes that means us coming alongside a little bit longer than a month so that they can do the educational pieces, the certification pieces, in order for them to be able to increase their income.
I'm certified in this, and I'm more valuable in the workforce.
Correct. Yeah, I'm more marketable. I now can make a higher wage, which means I don't need as much help, or I don't need help anymore from community partners.
What are some of the different things that we all kind of need to know to be financially literate?
I think a lot of times it's just a basic budget and that's where we start with financial literacy. Where's your money going out? What's your money coming in? And where are those gaps? And where are you spending your money? Sometimes people just are spending money on different things that they just don't realize. This is just something they've always done. They don't realize how much money they're spending out on fast food or Uber Eats or some of those delivery services that can be really expensive. And where if you're making spaghetti, something simple like that can be something that's reheated and be used twice or for a lunch the next day.
Right.
So how do we help start to dig into their everyday spending habits and help them make choices that'll stretch their dollars as far as it'll possibly go?
Do you find people might sometimes be reluctant to dig into that because they're embarrassed that they don't have a budget to start with?
I don't think that they're embarrassed. There is some reluctance, but I think it is more just that they don't. They've never been taught. They've never had this idea of here's my expenses, here's my income. Yes,
and that's what you referred to partly is that's one of the underlying things that help to keep generational poverty going.
Yes.
If you've not been taught that, your parents weren't taught that, we weren't taught that in school. I don't know why. I hope they're teaching budgeting in school now. I don't know if they are, but if our parents had known and had been able to pass that along to us, so we can pass it along to our kids to help us stop that cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think people understand how when they're growing up, especially someone who's grown up in middle class, who a budget is just almost kind of innate in them because they've seen it. People have talked about it. How different that is, that support system, that culture that they grew up in, how much that affects them in other cultures and in other family systems, how absent that is. So it's just a completely foreign concept to be able to budget money. Our upbringing speaks so much into how we go about, how we view life. And our attempt to eliminate generational poverty is working with the parents and working with the kids in ways that helps them get those skills and be able to view life a little differently than what's just in front of them every single day.
If you're just joining us, this is Focus. I'm Anna Marie, and we're talking with Major Bill Mockabee with the Salvation Army. The one more thing on the budget that you mentioned is it once you teach the parents, are the kids along for the classes if parents want to have them there?
If the parents want to have them there, absolutely they are. We're also working with our life skill classes. We have not gotten to this point yet, but we're working on being able to provide some kind of childcare while those parents are in those classes and doing that. And that way we're, again, touching two generations where we can do some educational things with the kids while their parents are doing those life skill classes.
A lot of times people who are not in those middle class or upper class families growing up, the parents are working so hard, they don't have time to stop and think, well, maybe I could better myself. Well, maybe I could take a class. Maybe I could learn something else. They're just like, I have to get up and I have to go to this job and then the next job, and the kids are going to be at the house, and then I have to get a little bit of sleep and go back. They don't have time, or they don't even have that possibility of a dream in their heads.
Yeah. They're surviving and not thriving. There's not that time to be able to sit and say, okay, how do I start to plan out? How do I better myself? And I think with those budgeting classes and the life skill classes in general, because there is so many things that go into those classes. It's not just budgeting when we talk about financial. There's other pieces that go along with that, debt reduction, and but it gives them time to stop and to be able to start to process and hopefully be inspired by our staff that there is more that you could do more, you could better yourself. You're not stuck in this position that you find yourself in right now.
I'm guessing that when people realize that there is hope, that probably, I would guess some people start getting a little teary-eyed just to start looking at the fact that they can have a future that's different from their present and different from their past.
Yeah, there's an energy that comes with that, and with deep within them, it's an intrinsic value, or it's an intrinsic bubbling up, and then all of a sudden there's some passion, there's some energy, and we want to harness that, and we want to tap, because it's very easy to get that energy and then go and hit your first hurdle, first wall, and then it's just like learned helplessness. I've tried, I've done everything I can, and here I am back in the same position I started. So being able to continue to follow up and stay with them on their journey becomes a big help for them to be able to continue to move past those hurdles.
You called it learned helplessness. I understand that. That's a perfect phrase, because I've tried everything I know. However, 1 + 1 is always 2. There's me. I try what I know, always same outcome. You bring a different number into that equation, and it changes things for them.
Yeah, it absolutely does, and especially when we start talking about those individuals who have experienced homelessness for such a long time. When someone comes along and walks with them, doesn't just tell them what to do, and that's one of our things with our case managers. We are coaches. We're not telling people this is what you need to do. We're working with them on their ideas of what it means to be successful. But what we do in moving past, we know it's inevitable. Everybody is going to hit those hurdles. Everybody's going to be told no, hit those walls. The difference is the support system that people have around them, and that's what we want to be, is that support system that always is saying, keep going, you're good enough, you have the ability to do this. Right now, just put your head down and keep pushing forward.
I can see that even in little ways, because if someone's told, well, you call this number and you tell them this, and if you have someone who has not done that and they're not accustomed to it, it's very intimidating. Like, I know my husband just doesn't like he puts off like calling and saying, well, we need to do this, or call the doctor and say, well, blah, blah, blah. He puts that off because he's not comfortable doing it. I can imagine someone who really hasn't used the phone to advocate for themselves.
it can become an issue because you just become paralyzed with the overwhelming the bills that are piling up. I don't know where I'm getting ready to be evicted. It becomes so overwhelming. It can be paralyzing for a lot of people. And then those who have they know where to go. They're having to ask for help from these communities. The other thing that we try to really limit is that they're having to tell their worst stories of their lives every single day to every single organization that they're going to.
Whoa.
Which is in some ways can be this self-fulfilling prophecy that, again, learned helplessness, that I keep telling this story of this is who I am, and it's over and over and over again. And that can be re-traumatizing for a lot of individuals.
That's what I was just thinking. It's trauma. Keeping a roof over your head, keeping some food on the table. It seems like that is a long-term trauma.
Yeah, and when you think about just how people feel about themselves, where everybody, the way that we feel about ourselves are the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and how we operate. Mm-hmm. And when you're constantly having to tell that story of, I can't do this, I can't make ends meet, I need other people to step in, you start to believe that's just part of who I am. It's not what I'm going through, it's part of who I am.
So how do you help them?
Again, we're coming beside them, giving them that encouragement, not just here's your help, good luck. How do we continue to stay with them on their journey? How do we continue to encourage them past those hurdles? And a lot of it is coaching.
To let them know, this is not, what did you say? This is not who I am. This is what I'm going through.
Correct.
I'm not a homeless person. I am dealing with being homeless. I'm dealing with being unhoused.
Yeah. I'm experiencing homelessness. I'm experiencing an event. It's not who I am.
Oh, I love that. And so that's part of the most important thing I bet that you can do to people.
Yeah,
do
framing,
with people.
And I think that helps as well when people are looking, when the general public is looking at individuals who are experiencing homelessness, that it becomes, this is something they're going through. It's not who they are. It's not their character. It's not this isn't an indictment on these individuals who are on the streets.
Yeah.
Rather, this is something that they're going through. And I think that shift, that framing of experiencing homelessness versus they are homeless, becomes very important to help shift people's minds of what these individuals are going through. So we at the Salvation Army don't believe that anybody should be defined for the rest of their life by one choice, one bad choice. That shouldn't be your defining characteristic of who you are. We believe that people can change. We believe in transformation, and we can help step in with someone at their lowest point and walk with them so that they can rectify those decisions.
We've all made bad choices. And if we were defined by the worst choice I ever made, I would be, I don't know what,
Yeah.
I get that. And so that's what we tend to do as a community often. We see them, and it helps us feel less responsibility or shame for not doing more about it.
Yeah, it becomes a reason why I shouldn't give, or why I shouldn't help, or why I shouldn't engage.
Yeah,
because they're making bad choices. They're immoral. Versus these are individuals who have run into something, and many of the people we work with, it is nothing that they have done. It's not their decisions.
Yeah,
they've made. It's just where they find themselves.
Yeah. So that is one thing of many, or that has a lot of legs to it, that the Salvation Army does. If you just join us, we're talking about the Salvation Army in Nashville and all the things that they do in our community and for our community. And we're talking with Major Bill. We're talking with Major Bill Mockabee, who is what is your title?
Area Commander.
Area Commander. What are some of the other things that the Salvation Army helps with? Because we've gone through homeless prevention. You said there are two more buckets.
The second one is homeless reduction. And this is serving individuals who are experiencing homelessness. And we do that through our Center of Hope. It's out on Dickerson Pike. Mm-hmm. We work with the Metro's Office of Homeless Services through coordinated entry. We're taking individuals into our Center of Hope with shelter, which is 16 single men, 16 single women, and then we have 12 family rooms as well. So at any point in time, we could have anywhere from 80 to 100 individuals living on our property there.
And it's not just to let them just live there, it's to help lift them out of having to find another place to go after that.
Correct. We are working on first finding them permanent homes. Last year, we were able to help 443 individuals get permanently housed,
Wow.
which means we were doing at a rate of more than one household a day. 443 individuals or households that walked into our door, we were able to help them find permanent housing. And not only are we finding them permanent housing, we are staying with them to do other wraparound services to make sure that they are not going to be back into that experience of homelessness afterwards. So we're following them. We're continuing along with them on their journey. And again, those life skills that we started with our emergency financial assistance, they're getting those exact same classes, those opportunities there at the Center of Hope as well.
Because if they have been experiencing homelessness for a long time, they don't have the experience of doing the budget, paying utilities, paying a rent or a mortgage of some sort. They do need that, as you call it, what, wraparound?
Wraparound services.
Services.
Yes, ma'am. And that's just making sure that once they leave our facility, that they still have that support. It is so important that support system, the structure, that whether it be familial, friends, whatever that may be, becomes so important for a lot of individuals, a lot of middle class and families and above. They have, if they were to miss a paycheck, if they were to get hurt, they have a structure around them that they could go to for support.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of these individuals who are chronically homeless, their support system that they have, which they do have community, but those support systems, those networks, aren't able to help them stay stable in their lives.
I've wondered about this. Sometimes you see people who are on the street, and you can tell that they've formed a friendship with those that they live around, basically, and who are also experiencing homelessness. So they have their friends, and that's all they've got as far as a support structure and of human beings in their lives. Do you find that a lot of them, do they miss them, and they're like, well, I want to be back with my friends?
Yeah, it's a big problem, and one that we have to help work with these individuals that they can work through, because there's almost a guilt sometimes of, okay, now I'm permanently housed, but my whole support system, my whole community is still living in an encampment. So what I'll do is I'll invite them to come be here at my new permanent house, which then puts them at risk at being violating their terms of their rental agreement, and ends up sometimes leading to them being evicted and back into that experience of homelessness again.
Wow.
But when you think about, especially the chronic homeless, they're on the streets, they're panhandling, and people who are going by won't even look them in the eye. They just feel invisible. So the only community they end up being able to build, the only community that really is accepting of them, are the other individuals who are in the same position that they are of that experiencing homelessness.
And so that's how Salvation Army workers help a little bit, by providing them what?
So when we bring them into our Center of Hope, there are opportunities for them to then start building community within the shelter itself.
Okay.
With our gap housing, we have opportunities for them to connect with our spiritual side of who we are, the Salvation Army, so that they're able to start to build community there as well, and that they can just expand their networking opportunities in that community. So that's one of the things that we're doing with our one program that is going into homeless encampments. It's called our Life Nav program.
Nav, like life navigation?
Correct, yes. Life Navigation. We just shorten it to Life Nav. But they're going into those encampments every single day, 2-3 days a week. We're feeding, doing a lunch, which is really not necessarily just for the subsistence, but it's a chance and an opportunity for our case managers to start building a relationship with individuals, because there is a lot of distrust of people coming in. Again, you go back to that learned helplessness. I've had people come to me and say that they can help me, and they work with me a little while, and then they disappear, or something happens. And no matter what I do, I end up back in this encampment.
Wow.
There's a story of one of our case managers working with this gentleman for 2 years, and every time she would try to get a name, he would always say, "My name's Bart Simpson." And it took her 2 years to get to the point where he finally gave his real name, where they were then able to get some of their basic paper, so their Social Security card, an ID, a birth certificate, because you can't do anything if you don't have those. You can't apply for housing. You can't apply for anything.
Yeah.
So we worked with him. Finally, after 2 years, they started to get those documents. Eventually, he came to our Center of Hope. He was a resident with us for a while, and now he is permanently housed. That whole process took 4 years from very beginning of meeting the Salvation Army to there. So that's that longevity of continuing to walk next to people and with people to be able to get them to that belief that I am good enough, I am worthy of having a permanent house, I am worthy of being able to move past surviving and into thriving.
And I am capable of it.
And I'm capable of it. Yes, absolutely.
So we're talking today about a lot of the things that the Salvation Army does, because when the holidays roll around, you'll see red kettles, you'll see red kettle drives, you'll see donate online, things like that. So we want to mention a couple of other things that you are actually supporting, because these go on all year. When you support the Salvation Army, when you drop some change in, when you put a check in there, when you donate online, what are some of the other things that the Salvation is? Homeless prevention. And what did you say the next one was?
The third one is elimination of generational poverty.
Oh.
And again, this kind of goes to those life skill classes where we're touching parent, guardian, and the child. So this last summer, we were able to send over 140 kids to our summer camp. That is a mixture of 1 week camps where they go, get to have that childhood experience out in the, I want to say wilderness, but it's a nice camp. They're not in the woods.
Yeah.
But there's a lake, so they're going out in the lake. They have adults, again, building community there to do to that. So we have the 1 week camps. We also sent, I believe the number was 12, to a 4-week music conservatory, which means they were there for 4 weeks straight. Some of them had never played an instrument before. I think some of them may not have known they were going to a music program. But 4 weeks, which means in 1 week and the 4 week, they're getting 3 hot meals a day. They're getting the attention that they need. But with the 4-week music conservatory, they're also getting a lot of music components to that as well. So that's another way, so that when they come back, we have music programs at our 3 churches, a way for them to connect there. A way to connect at school, especially once they start getting to middle school and high school. There's a community that's already formed, that's structured, that they can kind of grab onto with marching band, jazz band, all those things. And then even moving past that, if they're looking at higher education, which we always hope that they are, there's scholarships available for marching bands. There's scholarships available if you're going to do music as a music education or performance, whatever those are. That gives them another opportunity to be able to achieve some of those higher educational goals.
That's amazing. So we're kind of officially out of time, but I want to just quickly touch on the fact that every holiday, it's time to adopt an angel from the Salvation Army Angel Tree. And you can do that in person at some of the area malls. You can volunteer to help people adopt angels, or you can adopt online.
Yep.
You can just donate online, and the Salvation Army will buy the things that they need, correct?
Correct.
I've been working with you guys a long time. I almost didn't need you. I'm kidding. But any final thought you'd like to leave people with who are listening right now?
Yeah, just when you give to the Salvation Army, 83 cents of every dollar stays here in the community, goes straight towards programming. So the bang for your buck is just enormous with the Salvation Army. We really want to see people's lives transformed, and we have the programmatic structure to do that. So when you see Angel Tree, when you see our kettles, or you see something come in the mail, when you give, that money stays here locally and it goes directly to those programs.
And it makes a difference in our community and in our world.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Major Bill Mockabee with the Salvation Army. We'll put more links on our Focus Facebook page so you can check out all the amazing things that they do with that money that you donate. And please donate. Make sure you join us again next week. I'm Anna Marie. That's Focus.